Good evening, everyone, and welcome into our season-ending edition of the Bullring. I'm your host, Derek Diesner, and during tonight's episode, we'll catch up with head softball coach Nikki Bethurum, and we'll recap her team's games in this year's NJCAA National Softball Tournament that took place last week in St. George, Utah. We'll also catch up with athletics director here at AWC, Jerry Smith, to get his thoughts on the 2013-2014 athletic seasons here at Arizona Western College. Right now it's time for us to take our first break, but when we come back, we'll be joined by head softball coach Nikki Bethurum. That's coming up next, right here on the Bullring.
You can register for summer classes at Arizona Western College right now. Imagine completing the classes you need for your degree, like math and English, in half the time. The AWC summer classes are shorter and faster than the traditional semester. You can take classes in 5 or 10-week sessions. Summer classes are convenient, too. Classes are held online in San Luis, Somerton, and the main campus. Visit azwestern.edu for a list of classes. Register online or in person. Classes begin May 27th.
Welcome back, everyone, into the Bullring. Derek Diesner here with you, and it's now time to catch up with Lady Matadors Softball. And with that, we welcome in head coach Nikki Bethurum. Nikki, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
It's been a busy past week for your ball club. Before we get into the national tournament, you didn't have much time to get ready for that national tournament because you had the Region 1 tournament here at the Charlie Dines softball field. First off, I wanted to get your overall impressions of what you thought of the Region 1 tournament, being able to host it here at home and all the tough competition that was involved in that tournament.
Well, being able to host it was awesome. We had a huge crowd come out to support us, and I think I know that helped us out a bit, but a bunch actually. But I think we played really well that weekend. I think we did all the things right on defense and on offense to get the job done, and I mean, we played really well. It's probably the best we played all year.
You went a perfect 3-0, defeated Pima twice, you also defeated Eastern Arizona, but wanted to get your thoughts first on Pima. You were able to knock them off twice. Pima was the 4 seed in that tournament, and they upset both Central Arizona and Eastern Arizona. How much did that shock you?
Well, I mean, we've been trying to tell the players, and everybody should know at this point in time, that when it comes to the region tournament, you know, everything changes. Everybody starts over at a 0-0 record, essentially. And the stuff you've been done previously, you can use it to help you out, but it's not going to help you when you get this far. And the only benefit was that we were able to host. Other than that, everybody starts over at 0-0, and it's anybody's ball game. If you peak at the right time, which is what Pima did, they came out fighting hard because they knew they had a chance in the national tournament if they won.
Now, again, you guys go a perfect 3-0. You win the tournament to get that bid into the NJCAA tournament. How big was it to be able to host this tournament, to get those wins, knowing that it probably would have been a lot more difficult if you guys had to get on a bus and go all the way back out to Thatcher?
I can't imagine having to put together the national tournament packet on the bus on the way back to Thatcher. I can honestly tell you that much.
Yeah. So national tournament, you have a couple days to kind of get all ready for that, get packed up, then it's on a bus up to St. George, Utah. A new experience for you, a new experience for this team. What was your mindset when you were getting on that bus going up to St. George, knowing that you got the #1 overall seed in the tournament?
Well, I think at that point in time, I was still trying to make sure that we didn't forget anything, because that's a long trip to forget something on.
Yes.
I mean, having the #1 seed, all 16 teams were there. It all come through the same process we had. They won their region tournament. Some of them had to win a district tournament to get there. So, I mean, they were all good teams going in. Everyone had their own strengths and weaknesses, but, I mean, going in, we knew we had to fight hard because, like, everybody there was winners in their own particular region, so.
Now, once you got there, you were able to relax a little bit, then you had practice and all the other hoopla with a national tournament. What kind of message did you convey to your team to kind of, keep them at ease and try to make it feel like just a normal game?
Well, it was a little difficult because we normally have our own warm-up routine, and then there's so many teams trying to warm up at the same time. You're actually scheduled in the cage, you're scheduled on the field, and you can't break times for the most part because other teams are trying to do the same thing around you. So that was a little bit difficult, but it also gave us a little bit of time to allow them to go play hacky sack if they needed to, or go relax before the game started in their own way to help them loosen up. So.
Now, before the tournament, your players were able to see some of the other players from teams, both when they were at the practice field, getting the team pictures done, but also the banquet. And I wanted to talk to you about the banquet because former U.S. player Crystal Bustos was there trying to, give the players a message and really talk to them. How do you think her message was received by your team?
Well, if they listened, she had a good message to tell them, both about softball, life, and academics. And I hope they can take some of her message and carry it on and apply it to their life and in each different aspect of their life, because she's obviously been there and she obviously can get the job done in hers. So anything they could have picked up from her would have been awesome.
Now, after the banquet, you guys were able to go back, rest, and then the games began on Wednesday. First up, Spartanburg Methodist out of South Carolina, the 16 seed, and they really gave your team all you could handle. Had to go a final 9 innings in that ball game. You come out victorious 5-1, but how tough was Spartanburg Methodist?
They were tough. We came out, it was one of those games we didn't come out hitting again. We kind of had a couple of those earlier this year. It was probably a little bit of nerves, and there was a lot of college coaches, scouts watching in the stands. But Haley Miller threw an awesome game to keep us in there for 9 innings. And then Bria House came up big with a walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the 9th. So they eventually got the job done once a little bit of the jitters were gone, and that's nice to see. And it was definitely an exciting game.
Yeah, and this team seems to have a flair for the dramatics, and what a way to open up tournament play for your team. What kind of momentum can that give a team going into day 2, knowing that you had to battle, you played a tough opponent, and you get that walk-off grand slam to end the ball game?
Well, I think they realized at that point that Spartanburg was 16th, and that's got to tell you how tough the other 14 teams are in the tournament if the 16 team can take you to 9 innings.
Yeah.
So, it helped a little bit on day 2.
On day 2, you face the 8th seed in Central Florida, a really tough opponent, and as we find out, they made it to the championship game. Let's talk about that Central Florida team. The pitching seemed to be there and the hitting was there too. A very tough opponent, and again, only seeded 8th in the tournament.
Yeah, they were definitely a very, very tough opponent. Our bats just weren't there this whole weekend, actually. Day 2 was no exception. So I'd love to go back and see what happens when our bats are there. I think the experience of going will help us out a little bit so that we get into that type of scenario where we're really nervous that hopefully won't happen again, and be able to pass it on to the next group coming in and everything. But I just think we came out just trying too hard, essentially, it looked like. Trying too hard to get that home run, that game-winning hit, and as a result, we didn't hit the ball as hard as we can.
Final score in that ball game was 6-0. Then your team didn't have any downtime from there. It was pretty much pack up, head over to the next field, start to get loose again for the second game, and you ran into a tough ball club with Southern Union State. They jumped on you early. You were the home team in that ball game. They jump on you for 8 runs. You start with Haley Miller in that ball game, and then you have to go to Ashley Rex. But after that first inning, the team really settled down and it became a ball game again. But again, the bats struggled there in game 2.
Yeah, bats struggled, but it's actually the opposite of almost what we saw all year. The bats struggled real bad at the tournament, but our pitching and our defense actually came through, except for the 1 or 2 innings where we gave up some runs. But the whole rest of that second game, there was not another run scored, and there really weren't too many base runners for most of the game either. So, it was odd. I think we've never really seen that in a whole weekend or a week before this season. But, at least the defense came through.
I wanted to talk to you about Haley Miller because we saw her in the regular season finale in Thatcher really struggle against the Lady Gila Monsters. She comes back, she gets the win for you here to take you guys to the national tournament and clinch the Region 1 title, and then out in St. George, really pitched well. How impressed were you with her quick turnaround after the struggles she had in Thatcher?
She definitely made it. She definitely made some adjustments, and that's all you can ask of any of the players, is to ask them to make adjustments when necessary. And she came out and she was throwing hard. She was throwing well. It reminded me, she threw against U of A earlier in the fall, this last fall season. It reminded me of that performance there, where obviously they had some really tough hitters, but she still looked like she was throwing hard and the ball was moving, and she threw awesome the entire tournament. I think she just got tired toward the second game after she'd already thrown close to 20 innings. So
yeah.
I mean, couldn't have asked for much better than that.
Now, you finish off this season with an overall record of 49-9. Wanted to quick get your overall thoughts on this season, on a very memorable season here at AWC.
Well, I mean, we came out and we played very well this year. We had bats that brought us through in many of our tough games, and we have pitching and defense that got the job done. So there's not much more we can ask for it. They did an awesome job.
You had a pretty good sophomore class this year with Robin Alvara, Summer Ehrig, April Marquez, Samantha Mendoza, Haley Miller, and Jacqueline Pearson. What did you think about how this sophomore class performed this season?
Well, they did a very good job this season, and I think they're photobombing us behind. So
they are.
Yes, so they were awesome leaders on the field. They made sure that we had the will to win. So.
They're good jokesters too.
Yes. Help them from happening in the NCAA tournaments all weekend.
Now you have some great freshmen this season that really stepped up their play. How excited are you for this upcoming season, knowing that you have the freshmen returning after the experience they just had at the national tournament, and that's got to help too with recruiting?
Yes, and definitely it's going to help with recruiting a lot. I've already gotten quite a few emails about players that were on the bubble waiting for a D1 team to open up, that are getting to the point this late in the year where they're not seeing it. So I've had a couple emails already for players. So that's always nice to see. So. All
right. Well, Nikki, thanks so much for your time all season. Congrats on a fantastic year, and we look forward to catching up with you next school year.
Thank you.
All right. That was head coach Nikki Bethurum here on the Bullring. It's time for us to take a break, but when we come back, we'll sit down with athletics director Jerry Smith. That's coming up next, right here on the Bullring.
The career you've always wanted may be just months away. Just a few classes could take you to the next level in your job. Take a look at Arizona Western College's Career in a Year program. Earn your certificate in a variety of programs in 12 to 18 months, sometimes less. Programs include Certified Nursing Assistant, Public Safety, Logistics, Computer Information Systems, Auto Mechanics, Early Childhood Education, and more. Pick a career with strong job growth that ignites your passion. It's time to invest in yourself. azwestern.edu/career. You can register for summer classes at Arizona Western College right now. Imagine completing the classes you need for your degree, like math and English, in half the time. The AWC summer classes are shorter and faster than the traditional semester. You can take classes in 5 or 10-week sessions. Summer classes are convenient, too. Classes are held online in San Luis, Somerton, and the main campus. Visit azwestern.edu for a list of classes. Register online or in person. Classes begin May 27th.
Welcome back, everyone, into the Bullring. Derek Diesner back with you, and I'm now joined by Athletics Director here at Arizona Western College, Jerry Smith. Jerry, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, happy to do it.
The 2013-2014 athletic season came to an end with the softball team at the national tournament, but really, what a perfect cap to this athletic season. All 8 teams fared well, finished with above 500 records. 7 of the 8 teams made the playoffs. 2 teams made it to the national tournament. We hosted the Fisher Automotive El Toro Bowl. It had to be a successful year for athletics in your eyes.
Well, I think so. I think this was a banner year for Arizona Western College. Certainly many of our student athletes are moving on to 4-year colleges. Many of them walked through graduation on Friday night, and then with the athletic success we had in each of the teams this year, I think this is one of the best years we've had since I've been at Arizona Western.
Now, talking about the academic side, we're still waiting on the results on how our student athletes did for this past semester, but in the fall semester, the teams combined for over a 3.0 grade point average. That had to put a big smile on your face.
Sure, we've been striving for that for many semesters, and hopefully when we get grades next week, student athletes really performed well and made it through graduation and ready to move on to 4-year schools.
Now, looking at the team specifically, starting in the fall season, brand new soccer field this year, brand new program with the women's soccer team. How do you think that all went?
Oh, it was outstanding. I mean, response from the community was great. The fan support was great. Obviously, our young ladies, student athletes, performed well, and our team finished 3rd or 4th in the conference in their first year out and made the playoffs. And, our goal is for each of our sports to be involved in postseason play, and obviously we certainly are pleased when the teams go on to national competition.
And speaking of national competition, the volleyball team made it to the national tournament in Casper, Wyoming. They're the Region 1 champs, the District C champs. Jason Smith gets District Coach of the Year. Maria Del Mar Guzman Franco gets the Conference Player of the Year award, and then again a trip to the national tournament. What a successful year for volleyball.
Outstanding for volleyball for sure. We certainly enjoyed the team being able to go into Casper and perform well in national competition. We strive each year for each of our teams to have an opportunity and try to provide the necessary financial arrangement for them to have the potential to compete at the national tournament, and that's certainly going to be our goal as long as I'm here.
Now, the football program, it was a bit of a roller coaster ride for them, but still a remarkable year. The start they got out to, the sanctions came about, but the team still fought hard, made it to the Fisher Automotive El Toro Bowl, came up short, but faced a tough opponent in what turned out to be a great game.
Sure, it was a great game and a good event, and certainly we're appreciative of Fisher Automotive for the support that they provided for us, along with all the other supporters, and a special shout out to the Caballeros de Yuma as they provide the leadership for us to make that bowl, continue to make that bowl a successful event.
In the winter season, both the Lady Matador basketball team, Matador men's basketball team did really well. Lady Matadors came up just one game short of making it to the national tournament in Kansas. Matador men fell in the Region 1 championship game, a tough contest on the road to Mesa, but 2 successful years for the Matador basketball teams.
No doubt, as always. I think since I've been here, both teams have averaged winning 24, 25, 26 games a year. Certainly our teams were very competitive this year. The men defeated Mesa twice in the regular season and just went over there and fell flat in the regional finals, and were not successful, but we're extremely proud of the display of talent in both those teams this year.
And then the spring season, baseball came up short, but really battled all season, trying to make the playoffs, came down to that final day, but a successful year with a winning record.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Our baseball team's getting better and better. It's, I guess many people don't know, but Coach East will be our representative at the national tournament at Grand Junction. And if you look back at the schedule, we swept them twice. So the team from Region 1 is going to represent Arizona at Grand Junction, Colorado next week. We defeat them 4 times. So obviously our baseball team is just inches away from being there.
Yeah, and a team that is there right now, the Lady Matadors Softball team. An exciting season for them. We had the field dedication this year, naming it after Charlie Dine, the late AWC coaching great, and just the year they put together. 49-9 this season, winning the Region 1 championship here on their home field, and then going to the national tournament. What a remarkable season.
Yeah, we're extremely proud of the lady athletes from the Matador softball team. The ability we had to name the field after Charlie and his long time history with Arizona Western College, and the great support and the great success that he had. And then our ladies to come through this year to win the conference, win the district, and then move on to national competition. Obviously a new experience. We hadn't been there since the early 1900s or 1990s, so it was a new experience. And when you get into national competition and it's your first time there, it's a little bit overwhelming with all the things that you have to do and all the things you have to go through in the preseason, and then you're competing then against the 16 best teams in the country.
Yeah, all of them are good teams, and we learned that with the 16th seed Spartanburg Methodist. Well, Jerry, thanks so much for your time. What a fantastic year this was for Matador Athletics, and I know I speak for a lot of us in saying we're looking forward to the 2014-2015 season.
Well, obviously we are too, and we're going to be working all summer to get our teams prepared and get the Matador Athletic Association cranked up and ready to go for August.
All right, thanks so much, Jerry. All right, that was Athletics Director Jerry Smith here on the Bullring. Time for us to take a break, but we'll wrap things up right after this. You're tuned in to the Bullring.
You can register for summer classes at Arizona Western College right now. Imagine completing the classes you need for your degree, like math and English, in half the time. The AWC summer classes are shorter and faster than the traditional semester. You can take classes in 5 or 10-week sessions. Summer classes are convenient, too. Classes are held online in San Luis, Somerton, and the main campus. Visit azwestern.edu for a list of classes. Register online or in person. Classes begin May 27th.
Welcome back into the Bullring, everyone. Derek Diesner back with you as we get set to conclude our 2013-2014 edition of the Bullring. A big thank you to head softball coach Nikki Bethurum for joining us on tonight's episode, as well as head athletics director here at AWC, Jerry Smith. A big thank you to all of our coaches, assistant coaches, and athletes for joining us all season long here on the Bullring. And an even bigger thank you goes out to everyone involved at AWC Television and TV Services for all that they have done for us, not only here on the Bullring, but during all of our live broadcasts here at home this season. We hope you'll join us in August when the Bullring gets started for the 2014-2015 athletic season. And don't forget to stay tuned to the AZ Western Athletics homepage, Facebook, and Twitter handles all summer for constant updates on Matador Athletics as we get you all set for the fall season, which is just around the corner with Matador football, Lady Matador volleyball, and Matador and Lady Matador soccer. I'm Derek Diesner saying so long. You've been tuned in to the Bullring right here on AWC TV. Have a great summer, everyone.